It's Patrick Hutzel from IntensiveCareHotline.com. In this short video, I want to introduce to you an ebook that I wrote that comes with a video and an audio recording. It's tailor-made just for you and your family. The title of the ebook is The 7 Answers to the 7 Most Frequently Asked Questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care. It's a critical piece in your discoveries when it comes to ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care. It's a critical piece of information you want to have for you to have peace of mind, control, power and influence. When your critically ill loved one is faced with ongoing ventilation and ventilator dependency with tracheostomy in intensive care, for a lot of families this is an extremely stressful time. Families of critically ill patients in intensive care are finding themselves panicking, full of fear, sleepless at night. They feel extremely vulnerable when they are finding that their loved one in intensive care can't get off the ventilator and has or needs a tracheostomy. This is also a critical time in your life when you are finding that your loved one is critically ill in intensive care, ventilator dependent and with tracheostomy. Often your worst fears and your worst nightmares have become a reality, and there seems to be no help at hand. If anything, the intensive care team seems to be very negative, and they often paint a doom and gloom picture. Intensive care teams often have their own ways, and you may feel like they talk at you, over you, but not with you. They often use their medical language and their medical jargon that you simply can't understand. If anything, by the intensive care team overtly using their medical language and their medical jargon, you may feel like they are trying to cement their positioning as the experts, and you may feel like they are trying to cement their perceived power and their perceived authority. But what you and your family and your critically ill loved one need is for someone like me to explain to you what's really happening when your loved one is critically ill in intensive care and is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy. What you, your family and your critically ill loved one need is to speak to you in a language that you can understand, so that you know and understand what's really happening when your loved one is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy in intensive care. What you, your family and your critically ill loved one really need is for someone like me to take you under your wings, hold your hand and actually show you what's really happening when your loved one is critically ill in intensive care and is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy. What you, your family and your critically ill loved one need is for someone like me to give you the crucial and must-have insider knowledge so you know you desperately need when your loved one is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy in intensive care. Only then can you, your family and your critically ill loved one understand what's really happening so that you can make informed decisions and most of all have peace of mind, control, power and influence. The 7 answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care is a critical piece of information if you don't want the intensive care team to relentlessly pursue their own, often hidden agenda, but if you want to take charge yourself, if you want to improve the difficult, challenging and often desperate situation your critically ill loved one is in when they are on a ventilator with tracheostomy. It's a critical piece of information that you must have if you want to understand quickly what you are dealing with when your loved one is critically ill in intensive care and is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy. The 7 answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care is a critical piece of information that you must have if you've had enough of being intimidated by the perceived power and the perceived authority of the intensive care team. In the 7 answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care, that comes with 1 ebook, 1 video and 1 audio recording, you'll get all your burning questions answered when it comes to ventilation with tracheostomy. In the ebook, in the video and in the audio recording, I reveal to you why your loved one may not require mechanical ventilation and a tracheostomy for the rest of their life. Next, I will answer to you whether your loved one may die because of the ongoing mechanical ventilation and the tracheostomy. I will also answer to you whether it's painful for your loved one to have a tracheostomy and ongoing mechanical ventilation. I will answer to you and I will show you strategies to improve your critically ill loved one's situation while they are in intensive care, ventilator dependent with tracheostomy. I will answer whether it's possible for your critically ill loved one to have quality of life with ongoing mechanical ventilation and a tracheostomy. I will answer to you whether your critically ill loved one will ever get out of intensive care even though they are mechanically ventilated and have a tracheostomy. And I will also answer to you whether they will ever be able to get off the ventilator and have the tracheostomy removed. I will answer to you whether your loved one will catch an infection because of the intensive care environment and the ventilator. I will show you how to position yourself powerfully and position yourself well mentally, irrespective of the challenges you, your family and your critically ill loved one are facing. Most importantly, I'll show you what you need to do if the intensive care team suggests a withdrawal of treatment or a limitation of treatment as being quote-unquote in the best interest of your critically ill loved one. Because let's face it, many intensive care teams suggest a withdrawal of treatment or a limitation of treatment as being quote-unquote in the best interest of your critically ill loved one if they think that they'll never get off the ventilator. Now, it's really important for you to know what to do if the intensive care team suggests a withdrawal of treatment. You also need to know about quality of life and the perception the intensive care team has about quality of life and future quality of life. I'll show you why you and your family need to have your own definition and your own reality about quality of life and future quality of life, irrespective of the intensive care team's point of view and their mainly and often hidden agenda. I'll show you how you can change the perception that the intensive care team has about you and your family so that the intensive care team perceives you as different from the 99% of families in intensive care who have no peace of mind, no control, no power and no influence. I'll show you how long it'll take for your critically ill loved one to be weaned off the ventilator and the tracheostomy. Also, how to know what the elephant in the room is that the intensive care team will never mention to you, but is ultimately shaping the positioning of your critically ill loved one's prognosis by the intensive care team. Also, what you and your family need to know about the competition between medical teams when it comes to ventilator dependency and tracheostomy and how you can use it to your advantage. And I can tell you that most families in intensive care have no idea how to make use of competing interests between medical teams. I will also explain to you how the culture in an intensive care unit dictates how the intensive care team positions the ventilator dependency and the tracheostomy of your critically ill loved one, and how you can find out whether you are dealing with a positive or a negative culture in the intensive care unit. I will explain to you why care and treatment the intensive care team offers to your critically ill loved one goes way beyond your critically ill loved one's prognosis and diagnosis, and you will discover the ultimate determinant what treatment and care is offered or not offered to your critically ill loved one by the intensive care team. Next, what the intensive care team really means when they say that a withdrawal of treatment or a limitation of treatment is in the best interest of your critically ill loved one. Most importantly, I'll show you why your attitude, your outlook on life, your level of peace of mind, control, power and influence is the most important ingredient for you and your family to have leverage. I will show you why a lot of the things the intensive care team is telling you is based on guesswork and not on real science. How you can effectively deal with an end-of-life situation if your critically ill loved one is really dying, and how you can get peace of mind, control, power and influence in those challenging, difficult and heartbreaking situations. As always, you'll get real-world examples that you can easily adapt to your and your critically ill loved one's situation. Most importantly, you will discover how you and your family will stay in control of your critically ill loved one's fate and destiny. So, the ebook that comes with one video and one audio recording, the 7 answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care, will help you to deal with the intensive care team effectively, and it helps you to manage the intensive care team, who is normally used to have all the power when dealing with families in intensive care. Now, by now you know that you and your family and your critically ill loved one are in an impossible situation. And here's a quote for you. To live through an impossible situation, you don't need to have the reflexes of a Grand Prix driver, the muscles of a Hercules, or the mind of an Einstein. You simply need to know what to do. This is a quote from Anthony Greenback from the Book of Survival. And by now, you and your family know that you are in an quote-unquote impossible situation. You know by now that if your loved one is critically ill in intensive care and is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy, you really do need to know what to do. And in this ebook, video and audio recording, you'll get the crucial and must-have insider knowledge you know you need if your loved one is critically ill in intensive care and is ventilator dependent with tracheostomy. And you know that the 7 answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions if your loved one requires ongoing mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in intensive care, you can try it for free for 7 days. It comes with a money-back guarantee. So, go down and click the buy button now. You can purchase it for $27 and you get 1 ebook, 1 video and 1 audio recording, and we have a 7-day money-back guarantee if you're not fully satisfied with the quality of our product. Now, I can tell you that after more than 15 years intensive care experience in 3 different countries, where I literally work with thousands of critically ill patients and their families in intensive care, I have left no stone unturned in this ebook, video and audio recording. So, go down, click the buy button now, or if you have any questions, you can always send me an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com, or you can call us on our international phone numbers. Check out our Contact Us tab and you can find international phone numbers there, and you can ring me at any time. So go down and click the buy button now, and I'll see you on the inside.